Well, today on the Best in BA podcast, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Jason. Jason and I have been attending 1 Million Cups, which you guys might hear as a common theme on this podcast. That's where I've met a lot of my guests, is at 1 Million Cups, which is, this is not sponsored by 1 Million Cups, subtle plug, 8 a.m. Wednesdays, location, find it on their Facebook. But Jason, thanks for coming in. Give us a rundown. I know you recently did a rebrand, so I didn't want to botch the name.
No.
What do you do?
So for the past 19, 20 years, I've been in the financial services sector. About 3 years ago, I went independent, and really because it was really something that needed to be done. I had to turn away a lot of clients because I was working with a captive company and such. But what I do is I literally help people. Let me get on the topic before I go on a deep dive of my background story. Sorry, guys, little bunny trail.
All good.
But this is what I do. I teach people financial literacy. I teach people offense as defense in their finances. What does that mean? That means, guys, before you even get into a place to where you got to play the defensive, it's already too late in your finances. Just like any fight you get into. If you're having to play defense, it's already too late. You're not going to win the fight, or you're going to struggle to win the fight. And so I teach people how to do that through developing their proper protection, whether it's life insurance, supplemental insurances. I teach them how to do that with saving money, investing money. By the way, guys, disclaimer, I'm not an investment advisor yet. Keep in mind a big yet. I'm not an investment advisor. I do have an investment advisor in my agency, and I have a CFP that I also work with that takes care of those things. And that's who I put my clients through when they're ready to do those. So guys, keep in mind this is education, not a solicitation.
So those are the legal disclaimers.
Legal disclaimers, everybody. Legal disclaimers. Got to have that right.
So what's the name of your agency?
So we rebranded to Warrior's Heart Financial Agency. And the reason we did that was because a couple of my teammates, a couple of my business partners were saying it's really confusing for a lot of people to have your martial arts branding kind of mixed in with your financial services. And guys, you may ask, why did I do that? Well, I've been a martial arts instructor for 27 years. And so I've been doing martial arts since 1984. And so really and honestly, it's who I've been, what I've been a part of for so long in my life. And I paralleled those financial concepts to my martial arts journey and vice versa. And it kind of helps me deliver my education and financial services in a practical way.
So cool to hear how people bring past experiences and really just knowledge that they've built in a different industry and being like, hey, there are parallels here in the mental component of it. And then with that, do you feel like that gives you maybe a perspective that other advisors might not have, bringing that knowledge in?
So, I'm still in a lot of ways rediscovering my demographic because now don't take this the wrong way, but this was me too. Martial artists do not like to do anything with their money. They just want to spend it on the equipment and on the dojo and all that stuff, right? But it's a very difficult demographic at times because I haven't discovered it yet. And I'm being transparent, guys. It's kind of a struggle that I'm at. So as I'm working through that struggle to get to my demographic in financial leadership for my martial arts colleagues and friends, I have branched out and really focused on leaders in general, people who lead in general. And those are the people that I gravitate to. Those are the people that I want to be involved with and connect with. And there's a lot of services since leaving the captive world, which is where I was. I was at a captive agency. And guys, I've got PCTSD, which is post-captive traumatic stress syndrome. I'm just kidding. So nothing against captive carriers. There's a place for captive agents. There's a place for captive carriers. There's a lot of good friends that I have that are still in the captive.
So what are some examples of what does that mean to us non-financial
So captive means you're only allowed to sell the products and services that carrier has to offer. So for example, you got State Farm, Farmers and Primerica, great companies. They got wonderful services for the people, their demographic that they serve, right? But that's the only demographic you can serve in a captive world. And that's why I got tired of turning clients away that really needed the services that I had to offer, whether it was because it was a health limitation or it was just something in the underwriting wasn't working for them with said carrier that I was a part of, right? And guys, that right there, and then having the extra compliance on top of already having to follow state and federal compliance, I had even more compliance to work with because of company compliance. So there was that. And so I was in a position to where I wanted a little more freedom. I wanted a little more ownership of my book of business, right? Instead of giving my book of business back to said carrier, which is what 99% captive carriers, I haven't found one yet that gives you your book of business. Okay. You're managing the book of business that you brought in for said captive carrier. Well, I wanted a little more freedom, and not just for me. And I wanted a little more ownership, not just for me, but the agents that I brought in.
So how has that been since the transition, and when was that transition?
So that transition was in 2023, literally 3 years ago this month. Okay. And it has been a whole new world for me. And when you think you know, you don't know. When you think you know, you don't know. When I came into the independent world, there was a wealth of things that I did not understand, that I did not learn. I had to get on a learning curve for the last 3 years to really understand what I was doing now as an insurance broker and soon to be an investment advisor, understanding what that broker lifestyle was like versus just being an agent for one carrier. Unbelievable. Like,
And are you happy you made the switch? Has it been, paying off to what you kind of expected going independent?
So going independent, I mean, let's say it's definitely not an easier train. Okay. It's definitely not. You got to be willing to get in the fight, right, of this industry, but it was well worth it because I can cover more clients that I was not able to cover for 16 years. Now I can cover them. Now I can give them something. And guys, listen, GoFundMe is not life insurance. And get a little emotional here.
Very good.
Guys, 3 years ago, I was able to help out a client, right, with a policy that she was rejected from my previous company. We put her and her children on that policy, and her daughter was murdered 3 weeks ago. We're paying her $50,000 off of a child rider. But if I was still over there, I couldn't have covered her, you know? I couldn't have given her that chance. And the likelihood of her getting $50,000 from a GoFundMe account is little to none, because the average GoFundMe, when it comes to a passing of an individual, unless they're famous, right, $2,500.
Mm-hmm.
And then GoFundMe takes up to 30%. So what I do is important.
Mm-hmm.
And this change that I did from becoming a captive person, not saying captive is bad. Don't hear what I'm not saying. There are a lot of good people in the captive world. There's a lot of good carriers out there that do a great job for their clients, right?
But it's still yours. I mean, I appreciate all the caveats you're giving to not, sound rude to people in those positions. But it also is this is just your story and where you're at, and that you've seen. It's given you more freedom and flexibility to offer the things that you want to offer. And I think that's incredible. I mean, not everybody necessarily even has to go that route. They might be perfect where they are. They might be just as needed where they are. I think there's just as much a need for people to work under someone as there is for people to go out and start something, like you were saying in like stories that I've been blessed enough to hear is, business ownership in any capacity does not come without troubles in every imaginable capacity. Like you're going to run into wall after wall after wall. And it's like, are you going to keep going? Are you going to keep going? Not that it would be bad to go back to, a provider that you were with before, but that would be the temptation, or that would be, I guess, sort of the, man, maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe I can't do this, and I'm glad even 3 years, that's one of those things where it's like 3 years. Yeah. It might not seem like a lot, but 3 years that's a long time to be pursuing something independently. And, I just want to say that and kind of commend you on that, 'cause I think it's easy to downplay, especially if it's going off of like a long time, the stepping from the known into the unknown.
Oh, it's terrifying. But you know what? You got to take the leap, guys. If you want to be successful in anything, you got to take the leap. You got to take the risk. And that's what I did. Mm-hmm. I risked friendships that I made at my previous company that were no longer really in good company, because how could you, right? How could you go to the other side? How could you do that? But in the end, what's most important? I'm helping more people.
Yeah.
I'm servicing more people. I can help you, and because you and I both have a license, why don't you think outside of the box and understand that if you can't cover this client, a guy that came from your organization that's going to do his best to train this new client the way that he was trained over there. And you guys, guess what? Split the commission, mm-hmm. because it's called joint venturing. And in our industry, in the financial services industry, it is legal through the state and legal through the federal government for you to do that if you have the license.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why can't we do more of that?
Yeah, work together. That's kind of like the abundance, like there's more than enough to go around.
Yes.
And I find myself, the more I operate in, the abundance, I guess, or the idea that there's more than enough to go around. I mean, that's what my goal is with Best in BA, and the stuff I'm doing here is like, just give people a place to share their story and connect people with the community. And, yesterday was a year being in Oklahoma for myself, moving from Minnesota.
Has it already been a year?
One year here.
Because now you guys don't know this, but I first connected with Jake on TikTok because I was going through my list, and all of a sudden all my Oklahoma stuff started coming up, and Jake's on his phone going, me and my wife just moved here from, where was it?
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. And we're just brand new here, and we just wanted to reach out to everybody that's in the area. Tell us what you do. Tell us what's a good place to eat. And he's posting these videos like this. And so I got in there a couple times, and I said something. I don't remember what I said, but I can't believe it's already been a year.
That was a year ago today. I just
flew by so fast.
I just got a memory on my TikTok, actually. So it was
crazy.
A year ago today. So, I mean, I don't share that to talk about myself, but I guess it's just the idea of like we can give freely and receive freely. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's kind of what I was getting at.
But it also goes back to you talking about taking the risk.
Oh, 100%.
Because I mean, couldn't imagine. Well, I can, but the risk of coming from a place like Minnesota to Oklahoma, you know, same central hemisphere, but a slightly different climate, slightly different culture all around.
Not knowing anyone.
Not knowing anybody. Right?
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing. I mean, and this goes for, it's fun because these conversations, we obviously can talk about, we could go into depth about everything financial, but I think the fun part of it is too, where it's like we can kind of explore different ideas and thoughts, with other people and how they like to think about things. I 100% agree that taking the risk it's one of those things that the payoff, sometimes it's very delayed, and this morning, another financial person spoke at 1 Million Cups. And, the conversation I kind of brought up was, a lot of young people are super discouraged financially, where do they start? And I think the honest and harsh truth, at least from my perspective, is you just got to try more things. You got to put yourself out there more. I have friends they're making steady money, but unfortunately it's not cutting it for what their life goals are, and I would love to hear, after I wrap this up, I'll land the plane here, but I would love to hear some more stories of people that you've helped. But I think of a friend that he worked for me when I ran a window cleaning business back in Minnesota. And most rewarding thing with him was a few months ago, he just started his own window cleaning business.
Isn't it great to watch your kids grow and build your
It's
own
funny
thing?
because I went to high school with him, so it's funny.
But
he stepped out.
That's kind of what that is, right?
Yeah.
So
no, that was the story there. But I would love, if there's any other, like, over the years, whether it's independent or with, it doesn't matter. But I would love to hear, like, what drives you to stay in this industry. That there is a lot of competition. There are a lot of providers and places people can go. What through all that motivates you to stay in it?
There's a lot of things that motivate me to stay in it, but the earlier story that I talked about with my client losing her daughter, if you're in the financial services industry and you've never paid out a passing away claim, I don't know which platform this is going on, but some platforms don't like what we actually call it, so a passing away claim, right? Someone passes away, we put a claim on their insurance, right? If you've never done that, you don't realize fully the value you offer your clients. But when you pay that out, you're doing exactly what the Bible talks about. If you're a believer in God, right? And I don't mean to take this. No. You can believe whatever you want, but I believe in God. I believe in Jesus, right? And in the book of James, it says, pure and undefiled religion is taking care of widows and orphans. It just took care of that by paying out a passing away claim. Mm-hmm. You're doing God's work by doing that. You're also doing God's work because in Proverbs, thank you, Proverbs 13:22, Solomon says, a good and righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children and grandchildren. So are you guys leaving debt to your grandchildren and children, or are you leaving an inheritance? Mm-hmm. I get to teach her to do that. Mm-hmm. The guy earlier, one of our colleagues from a competitor organization, right? One of my colleagues from a competing organization does that. I mean, and guys, and we got to hear him speak. I was having a blast because, he was saying the same exact things I was saying. And it was just a breath of fresh air, really, because a lot of times people in our industry talk about products and services. They don't talk about the solutions.
Yeah.
They don't talk about the education.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think it's one of those things that unfortunately, I'd never heard of it called a captive organization or captive.
Yeah.
Captive agents. But no, my point on that. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but
you're fine.
what I've felt in the past, I guess with a Northwestern Mutual, with some of these others, what I have felt is I am only someone to be sold to by the people there. And, I've had friends where it's like, hey, will you hop on this call with me? They're interning at Northwestern Mutual. Sure, whatever. And then they don't get to say a word. It's just their boss trying to say, hey, what's your financial situation? What can I sell you? And that's what I think. That's what I think, unfortunately, and I'm not saying that goes for everyone at any industry, whatever. But what I have felt in the past is, hey, we met. How can I bring you on as a client? Not, hey, here's some stuff I can teach you, and if you want to work with me, great. I think you see some pretty successful business owners. I think of Alex Hormozy. I think of some of these other guys where their whole model is, I'm going to give content and knowledge freely, and people are going to want to work with me because I've shown them, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just trying to sell you.
Right.
So I don't really know where my point is with that, but I think in an industry, it is refreshing to hear a conversation like that, where you get to hear his backstory, you get to hear his intro to, why he got into finance in the first place, and then who he's helping. I think it's really cool.
So that's great, and that reminds me of fully answering your previous question. The reason I got into this was I was working at Starbucks. I was a part-time martial arts instructor, and I was a part-time youth minister 20 years ago.
Wow.
I was doing 3 jobs, making $15,000 a year. Let that sink in. I was doing 3 jobs, $15,000 a year. And a guy came up named Daryl. Never seen the guy before. And he just comes in and he's walking in. And he says, hey, man, I just want a vanilla latte. And I said, hey, you're new here. What's your name? And he says, well, my name's Daryl. And I said, great. So how do you want your vanilla latte? You've never come into my store. I don't know how you want it. And so I'm asking him questions. Guys, the quality of questions you ask determines the quality of appointments and clients or business partners you'll have. And I didn't realize I was doing this. I was just doing what I was told. See, back then, Starbucks taught you, before they went public, to run your own store. They taught you how to run your own store. They taught you to own the brand, to own the business. You had stake of ownership because it was employee owned back then, right? And what they taught us were these 3 things: connect, discover, respond. And that's what I was doing, but I didn't realize that's what Daryl was looking for in a person. And so I made him the latte, and then I'm taking care of all. I worked at the busiest drive-through in the Tulsa Metro at the time, which is off of Aspen and Kenosha in Broken Arrow. That was the busiest drive-through. Every time at 5 a.m., they'd be wrapped around waiting for us for 30 minutes, to open. But beside the point, I'm done. I go on my lunch break. Daryl comes in and he's like, hey, can I sit here? Yeah, sure. I don't have anybody else sitting here. And he's like, yeah. Hey, so I really appreciate what you did. You're the kind of person I'm looking for. I said, for what? And he says, you ever heard of asset management? And I said, what is that? Mm-hmm. I didn't know what asset management was, guys. I was just a normal average guy that knew nothing about finance, knew nothing about investments or anything. He told me what it was, but then he said, hey, look, would you like to continue to do what you're doing, but not worry about having a paycheck to do it? And I said, well, yeah, because I loved everything I was doing, but I was stressing out so much because I wasn't getting paid enough, Mm-hmm. But I loved all 3 of them, working in the ministry, making good, exceptional coffee beverages, mm-hmm. and teaching martial arts. What is there not to love? I mean, mm-hmm. that's what I love doing. But if I could do that for free, and not worry about it and still be getting paid a significant income, then yeah, I would do that. But then I show up to the meeting, stood them up for 3 weeks, by the way. So the power of follow-up's key, because they did it to me and I do it to all of you. but the power of follow-up is great if you have something that is good and quality and that could save people's financial and general life, right? Mm-hmm. So I show up the third time that he reached out to me. And guys, if you're trying to get a 28-year-old man to go to an event, make sure you got barbecue and brisket that was smoked on a smoker, because that's when I finally showed up. Yeah. And I listened to his leader, a guy named Keith. And Keith said, just help this family potentially secure $2.5 million at retirement. Got them a $1 million life insurance policy, so in case something would happen in between that purchasing power, that family is going to be taken care of. And the beautiful thing was I got to talk to them about the Lord, and they're coming to church with me tomorrow. I said, I'm in. I get to be free to talk about my faith here. I wasn't free to talk about my faith at my coffee job, mm-hmm. right? But I was free to talk about it here. I'm in. Best check I ever bounced, because back then I had to do a sign-up fee, and then I had to pay for all my licenses back then. But I paid for a sign-up fee. It was $299, but it ended up being $325 because I bounced the check. Mm-hmm. But it was the best check I ever bounced, because it taught me how to not bounce any more checks. Mm. And it taught me how to teach others how to not bounce any more checks.
Wow. So just the opportunity to say yes, you just went for it. And then how long after that yes, I guess, with him did you start going, hey, this was the right decision? Like when because I don't want this to sound wrong to you in any way, but I think sometimes why people are a little bit scared to work with people in finance in general is oftentimes, maybe not oftentimes, there are a lot of people who give big lofty promises in like, hey, fix your finances in this and way, and achieve this sort of, X amount passive income with little work in no time, which we all know is not the reality of life. But I guess I'm not saying you were brought in on that, but I've seen that in some of these financial industries. How did you know, like, hey, this is the right decision? This is going to pay off for me? Or was there doubt after going down that road? I guess, if that makes sense.
I'll be honest, guys. It was like a roller coaster. Okay. So going into business and doing business for yourself, right? And getting into something that's brand new that you have no idea what the heck you're doing, and you got to submit to somebody, trust them, know them, and like them, right? And you don't know them very well. It's a huge risk, but if you take the risk and just keep going, you'll find out when it was the right move for you. Mm. And that's what I did. Mm-hmm. I found out when it was the right move for me. And it was at a time where a couple people have passed away, and they did not choose to do my services because I came across as an MLM.
Yeah.
Right? Some people don't get into it because for the dumbest reasons on the face of the planet. Oh, it's a scam. It's an MLM. Did you research it? Did you see it? Forbes talks about my previous company all the time, right? Now, big time money magazines are talking about the carriers that I provide through now, right? Over and over and over again. You can't tell me it's a scam and they're a public traded company. You can't tell me it's a scam and all these business magazines and business profiles are putting them on the front page. You can't say that. So you haven't done your adequate research. But because he did that, and because, you know, he didn't go, he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And his family sold their house, got 3 jobs, kids getting dropped out of school, had to go work. And I'm like, that's when I knew that I was in the right place at the right time. Because when I saw that, and then I saw my parents and how they're struggling today. And they're great. My parents raised me right in a lot of ways, but when it comes to money, you know, it's just scarcity mindset.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And you want to get on my nerves? Give me a scarcity mindset. You want to get on my nerves and get me a little frustrated with you?
Well, I wouldn't want to do that.
Scarcity mindset. Because, guys, listen, if God made you with purpose, for a purpose, and on purpose. And he says, fear not.
Mm-hmm.
So why have a scarcity mindset when God says, fear not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just go give it a shot. If it didn't work, you learned something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You don't just quit. You get back up from where you left off and you keep going in the direction you need to go, continuing forward in that path of moving from lack to providence in your mindset. Because whatever a man thinketh, so he is.
Mm-hmm.
So fight through the pain. Like my dad used to tell me when I was about to quit in the ring for a couple of my black belt tests. And he's just like, you got to fight through the pain, son, and keep your hands up.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing. So, guys, if you want to stop getting punched in the face in your finances, we need to talk.
Oh, there we go. That's the subtle plug. No, no, I like that. So do you have like a martial arts sort of tagline for your business?
Offense is defense, winning your financial fight.
There you go. Because you just keep dropping these one-liners, and I'm like, surely he's thought about that before.
Yeah,
that can't be off the top of his head.
No.
So I guess before we wrap up, I would love it if, I know you said you can kind of work with whoever, but what situation would someone find themselves in today that they would go, hey, it would make sense to, I know you said you like to just have a conversation, grab a coffee, something like that. Who's that person who would be like, yeah, this is my situation? Like, who can you help?
I can help the person that is, that feels that they have gaps in their finances. Do you have financial gaps? Someone who feels like there's got to be something more. I'm working my job, I'm working my career, but I'm not getting ahead. Someone who feels like I'm running my business, but the bills keep on raising, the rent keeps on going up, and I'm going to have to raise my prices on my product. And I'm going to be disappointing a lot of my regular clients because they can't afford it. So if they want to keep their regular clients, maybe we need to have a conversation and see if there needs to be some restructuring of what you're already spending, mm-hmm. and then save you a crap ton more money.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, that sounds great to me. Saving a crap ton more money.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go for that. Anything else that you wanted to make sure that we hit on today? I mean, I think it's one of those things where, like we said before, we could go so much deeper into, current financial situations, different products, ways that you specifically can help people. But I think
that's for another time.
That's for a coffee with Jason here. So.
Yeah. That's for a coffee with me, guys. And keep in mind, guys, do your research on the products before you buy into them. or have a conversation with a licensed professional,
Mm-hmm.
right? That wants to help you, not help his company or her company.
And I would
Right.
imagine if you're working with somebody who has your genuine best intentions in mind, they're not going to be intimidated by you shopping around or by you
Oh,
talking
no,
with
no,
multiple
no.
people. Because that's another thing when I said, people trying to sell to you, where I feel like if there's ever like a pressure sale and it's something like there's there's very little things more intimate and personal than people's personal finances. I mean, it is a look into people's lives and world that
Nobody
almost
else.
nobody ever gets to see.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Is that fair to say though? I mean, I guess it's just like, if you even just need to have a conversation and see if it makes sense, like that's the person that you want to talk to.
Yeah. So, to be honest with you, not everybody fits what I do. Not everybody's going to want to work with me. And I don't just recruit anybody and everybody if they want to come work with me, like some people. And I don't even bring on clients, that we can't work with. Because guys, everyone's got to be coachable to what we give. If you want to win your financial fight, you got to listen to your sensei, your instructor, right? You got to listen to your financial coach. You have to listen to them, because if there's someone like me, right, which we were talking about him earlier, he's a lot like me. You find us, you talk with us, we will coach you and guide you and direct you into the product that suits you, not necessarily the product that you want, and not even necessarily the product that we want for you. Really and honestly, it's what your analysis tells you. And I do a customizable, complimentary financial analysis that is tailored to everybody. So if something changes, hey, Jason, I just killed this debt when doing the debt snowball, which you get for free with our program, not $99.
Mm-hmm.
But, you do that debt snowball and you're working with an financial guy, right, on it the whole time. You're not doing it by yourself. You're doing it with us. So you call me up, say, hey, Jason, I just knocked out this debt. How much closer am I to my financial independence number or intelligence number, right? Which is the number that you need to retire, okay? How much closer am I to that? I don't know. Let's get on a call and let's adjust it. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. It gets tailored. It's like you're losing weight, so you need to take your sport coat in to get adjusted. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's the first step. And does that cost you anything? No. It doesn't cost you anything to see where you're at. And it gives you the peace of mind that you're doing the right thing. Or it gives you the urgency to change and do a little bit better so that you can win.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody wants to win.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to lose.
No. Yeah, no, that's
So
awesome.
that's who I'm looking for.
That's awesome.
So I know it's a little broad,
Yeah.
but everybody has the same theme.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a brick wall with my finances, and I need help.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where to go, and I don't know who to turn to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be sold. I want to be educated.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there you go.
Well, that's amazing. I think that's a great place to leave off. So, thank you for coming on the Best in BA podcast, having a conversation.
It's my pleasure.
Glad we were able to get the microphone figured out there. You guys can't see it. It's kind of taped up, but anyways, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
It was about time we did this.
Yeah, it was.